Okay, so, do you guys like how I ignored your pleas of saying you weren't ready? First thing that I'm going to do is draw my line to separate my equation here. He is no longer in my first hour class. He's not in my first hour anymore.
Okay.
So I'm going to draw a line. That way I can solve for y equals 0 and x equals 0. Now, it doesn't matter. If you want to start with y equals 0, you can. If you want to start with x equals 0, you can. I usually always start with y equals 0, but some people like to start with x equals 0 because x comes first in the alphabet. Does not matter. So because I like to start with y equals 0, I'm going to continue starting with setting y equals 0 first. So if I set this side as y equals 0, what am I going to set the right side of my line? X equals 0. I write those in first thing. I do this, 1, to help me keep organized of what I'm doing on which side, and 2, because it's going to be worth a point on your quiz and on your test. So I'm going to, and also, if you solve, and I don't know what you're solving, like which intercept you're solving for, because you don't have this set, it's harder for me to find out where you went wrong if you messed up. So, using this equation, what am I going to do for y equals 0? So, using this equation, and I come over here and I have y equals 0, what am I going to write down here?
2.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I write 2x, then what? There's that 0, equals, what's that equal? 10. Now, why did I put the 0 by the 5? Yeah, substituted for the y. So that means I'm solving for x, which means I'm trying to find out what the x-intercept is. Okay, now don't work ahead of me. We got to circle that variable. I'm going to draw my line. The number that's next to the 0, I can go ahead and just scribble out, because anything times 0 is 0, so I basically just get rid of that. Now, Kalon was right by saying our x is going to equal 5, but Danielle, how do you think he got that? What do I have to do in order to get the x by itself? Yeah, I'm going to have to divide each side by 2. Now, what's the variable I'm solving for, Danielle? So I'm going to bring the x equals and what? 5 down. So now I have a y value and I have an x value. So I'm going to write my first set of ordered pairs. Jaden, what's my ordered pair? What's my ordered pair?
5, 0.
Good. Make sure parentheses, commas, and box it. Okay? So now I go and I use x equals 0. If I'm putting in x equals 0, which intercept am I going to find?
Y.
The y. Very good. So I'm going to use my equation. When I go to write this equation, Alex, what am I going to write down? So what do I write on this side? Well,
No, wait. 2.
keep telling me what I do. So I'm substituting for x. So 2x, what do I substitute for x? What do I substitute for x? So 2 times 0, then what do I write? Plus 5y. Yep. So we're using the same equation. I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to circle my variable. No, wait. Read this to me now. 2 times 0 plus 5y equals 10. So what's 2 times 0? So we're going to basically just cancel that out. So now our goal is to get the y by itself. So if I want to get the y by itself, not minus 5, because the 5 is touching the y, that means to multiply. What's the opposite of multiply? What's the opposite of multiply? Divide. There we go. I knew we'd get there. Okay? What variable do I bring down? What variable am I solving for? Okay, so y equals, and then Alex, 10 divided by 5. 10 divided by 5? Don't you tell me you don't know you have a calculator.
2.
Help them out. 2.
It'll be 2.
Okay.
Yeah, 2.
So now I need to set my ordered pair. So my ordered pair, remember, ordered pair is made up of x, then y. So what's, excuse me, so what's my x value?
0.
And what's my y value? What's wrong with how I wrote this? There we go. Good. So we determine the x-intercept, we determine the y-intercept. Now I need to plot them. So I'm going to look over here. I have my y, I have my x, and I'm going to plot these intercepts. So I look at my first ordered pair. It's 5, 0. So I go to my origin. How do I plot this first ordered pair? Daisha?
Won't you go left, like right?
Right, because it's a positive number 5 times, 5 spots. Now I'm going to plot my point. Now yours might look a little bit different on your paper because I have a lot more grid lines. Yeah, I have a lot more grid lines. So then I'm going to come to my second ordered pair. My ordered pair is 0, 2. So I'm going to start at the origin. My x is 0, so I don't move. My y is positive 2. So what do I do for that?
Go right.
Go up.
Go up how many spots? 2. What do I do from here?
Draw.
So I just draw my line like this, right?
No.
Oh my gosh, what's wrong with it then?
Ugh, that wasn't even straight.
So I didn't use a straight edge. What else didn't I do?
You didn't go.
Why you even write your 0? I mean, your dot.
Because I accidentally hit the eraser instead of my ruler. Because that's how I'm rolling today. Okay, so my line wasn't straight. It didn't go through both of my plotted points. It didn't go to... I didn't have my arrows, and it didn't go to the end of each of my coordinate planes. Those are all things that I'm looking at.